All right, guys, today we're going to be talking healing journeys, okay? This is going to be raw. It's going to be unfiltered. I'm not putting any kind of special filters. This is just my iPhone because I'm a real human being. You are too. You probably appreciate that as I do, because then I'm like, oh, you know what? We're human beings watching human beings. Okay, enough of the rattling on. I'm not someone who loves to make content. I don't want to spend hours editing the video, so this is not going to be that. You're just going to get a straightforward talk from me. I did start notes and I was going to come in with this whole plan, but I just thought, who really needs that? I just need to talk to you woman to woman, if that's who's watching the video, woman to whoever is on the other side of this. And let's just dive into the nitty-gritty things of healing journeys that I can share with you that can maybe help you along your way, like what to expect and kind of how all of this really goes down. So, let's just start off by talking a little bit about my background, my history. So, I grew up in a very chaotic environment, meaning that there was a lot of chaos in the home. My parents suffered with some addiction problems. We had a lot of inconsistencies growing up, meaning we had to move a lot. I've been in and out of shelters. I had to live with friends some of the time. I had a daughter at the age of 16 years old. I was in some very narcissistic relationships myself, and I just was really a totally messed up woman. And when I got into my adulthood and started getting sick and tired of being sick and tired, I decided to go all in on a healing journey, because I'm like, when is this going to change? When are things going to change, right? And if that sounds like something you're dealing with, I mean, you're probably here today because you're wondering, how can I get over these behaviors or the way that I'm feeling? When I got to rock bottom, I was literally crying and wondering, when are these negative thoughts, negative feelings going to stop haunting me so that I can actually live my life? I would go out into the world and I would see other women just embracing life and being present and excited, and meanwhile I was the woman who was kind of watching everyone, wondering, how are they just like that? Or why am I not like that? Why can't I be like that? Why am I not confident? Just over analyzing and having all these negative thoughts, I'm not like them. Why am I not like them? I'm not good enough, or I don't fit in. These types of things, right? And this is just something that comes with growing up, dealing with any form of trauma, right? And so I went on this major healing journey, and this really started with, at one, I would go to therapy, right? I went to therapy for a little while, and we kind of uncovered some things, and I didn't exactly like it so much because I noticed that I would feel kind of worse after therapy, just because we talked about so much heavy things that I was like, dude, no. And then they diagnosed me with PTSD, severe depression. They wanted me to go on these meds to help with all these things. And I'm somebody who is kind of against taking medication. Even ibuprofen, I only take that when I absolutely need to. And so I was like, no, I'm not. And then I've also heard concepts where if you believe in something that somebody is telling you, you are stupid, you are depressed, you are this, you are that it starts to become a part of your self-identity. They tell you, you are depressed, you have PTSD, you are severely traumatized. And although that might be true, when you adopt that is who I am, you start acting like that. I started thinking, oh my gosh, I'm just depressed. And I was noticing myself sad, and I'm I just have PTSD, and I started adopting this new belief, this new identity around that, and it started to scare me. And I thought, no way, I'm not doing this anymore. So I cut therapy completely off, and I thought, what else can I do to help myself become better? And so what I did is I got on YouTube, as most of us do, probably another reason why you're here, kind of looking for answers. And I came across Tice Gibson with the Personal Development School, and she teaches a lot about attachment theory, right? And attachment theory, like we all have attachment styles. I deeply believed in this, excuse my French, tongue twister today. And I just did a deep dive into understanding what my attachment style was. And the craziest thing is that like, when I found out that I was fearful avoidant, also known as anxious avoidant or disorganized attachment, I couldn't believe how much I resonated with the characteristics and traits and everything. Like, it was like, oh my gosh, this is me 1000%. I cannot believe that I finally found the answers. And so with that came like learning a lot about my inner core wounds, learning about emotional regulation, learning about being able to communicate my feelings in an effective way, right? And just really starting to understand myself at a deeper level. And this is when I initially started to implement the changes, because Tice Gibson teaches a lot about like reprogramming your subconscious mind. And so I myself was thinking like, our subconscious mind is responsible for 95 to 97% of all of our emotions, actions, decisions, those types of things. And so really our conscious mind, who we think we are when we're making decisions, that's only 3 to 5%. And that was kind of mind blowing. So like, she really broke it down in this form where she's like, we're kind of like a computer system. And so whatever's been programmed in, like all of our wounded parts, maybe we have trust issues because our parents would tell us one thing or do another, or when they were supposed to be there for us, they weren't, right? And it's initially throughout your childhood that you're picking up all these beliefs throughout the world about what it means to give and receive love. And so I'm like, wow, I could look back at my childhood and be like, no wonder I have a hard time trusting people in my life because XYZ happened in my childhood. No wonder I'm not good at communicating or even really know what that means because it wasn't modeled to me in my childhood, right? And none of that is like your fault, but it is your responsibility to kind of change these things in your adult life, because if you don't get a handle of it on it, unfortunately your life will not go in the right direction and you will not feel that like true happiness and fulfillment along the way. Okay, so number one, I learned my attachment style and I learned about all the goodness and healing that had to offer. So Tice Gibson, thank you so much. You literally saved my life, and everything changed since I started doing that. Like, I started reprogramming these core wounds of abandonment, of trust issues, of feeling disliked and not good enough. Like, she literally teaches you all of these things. And the craziest thing that I can tell you is that when you have these wounds that live within your subconscious mind, anytime something in your environment touches on them, that your brain associates with it, like you have this belief, I'm not good enough, and then like you go to a job interview and then somebody like doesn't give you that job, instead of like being able to rationalize it like a securely attached human being would and be like, oh, well, maybe that wasn't for me, someone else might have had higher credentials and that is okay, I can find something else. It doesn't mean I am not good enough, right? No, if you have this wound, you're going to be spiraling in all these negative thoughts because it's a deep belief, and you're going to be like, I'm not good enough, I knew it, I'm never going to find another job, and you're just going to go down this negative rabbit hole. And that's what happens with all of your core wounds. So number one, like, definitely recommend 10 out of 10 healing your deepest core wounds, because that will literally stop all these negative thoughts coming up in events like throughout the course of your life. So yes, definitely do that. The second thing that I really, really stand by is learning about feminine energy. So as a woman who grew up in trauma, let's say like a trauma, chaotic childhood, right? I was always in survival mode. So I'm always like used to being in fight or flight. I'm always like hyper aware of my surroundings. I want to control everything because if I can control things and people around me, then I know everything will be okay. And that's kind of like the outcome when you grow up in highly chaotic environments, right? Because like when things are chaotic, you just don't know what to expect and it feels very unsafe. Sometimes things are good, sometimes things are bad, right? But if you in your adult life can control this person and make sure you know exactly what's going on all the time and control every little thing and always know what to expect, then you can remain safe. But you have to learn to be a little more fluid and go with the flow and break out of that survival mode, essentially, right? So that you can step into your true feminine power, which is something that I really wanted to do because I don't want to be like masculine. I don't want to like push men away in my life and they're like, oh my gosh, like she's controlling, like give me some space, give me some freedom, all because I had all this woundedness going on in me. And so the next biggest channel that I listened to help me on my healing journey was the famous Margarita Nazarenko. Shout out to you. She has so many amazing videos that you can watch and learn about feminine energy, and she just literally gives it to you straight, and I just love that about her. So thank you, Margarita. You also have tremendously changed my life and inspired me to be more of a feminine energy woman and break me out of the controlling patterns. And so a couple other key points that I'm going to share here are just going to be like what that journey really felt like and what I experienced in total, right? This is kind of like a girl talk here. So when I first embarked on this healing journey, right? Like you have all of these things that you are learning, like, and it is challenging to say the least. Like it is really, really challenging. Like girl to girl, heart to heart, like tune in. You will have days where like you are wondering, is this even working? Is this gonna work? Like you'll have days where you feel really inspired and you're like, wow, I see the fruits of the spirit. Like I see it, and like you feel motivated, right? And then there's moments that things kind of take a backslide and maybe they're not working out in your favor. And then you go, oh my gosh, I'm just done with this. Like this isn't working. It worked at first, now it's not working. But all I can tell you in these moments is to stay consistent with whatever you are committing to. Now, I shared earlier some of the things that helped me, but it doesn't mean that that's the path that you have to take, right? You can take any path that you want, whether that be therapy or you have some other mentor or leader that's helping you out. I understand that like healing journeys, they're pretty much the same process, no matter who you're looking up to for your advice or your mentorship, right? And so you're gonna have these moments where like you're wondering, when are things gonna change? When am I gonna see something? And then you're gonna have your moments, your days where you're breaking down and you're crying and you're like, I'm just so fed up. I've been trying so hard. And this is a time that I just wish I had somebody by me telling me like, baby girl, get up, keep going. And sorry, get emotional just thinking about it, because if I didn't keep going, I wouldn't be at the place that I am today. And I was not planning for this in the video, but all I'm going to share with you is that it's not easy. It doesn't happen overnight. I wish it did. I've been on a healing journey for the past 2 years now, and I would say like I'm like super more aware and like 1,000% better than I was 2 years ago. Like honestly, I used to try to be so controlling of my partner because I had trust issues. I wanted to know every little thing. I had suspicions all the time, and because I had that, I would kind of be passive aggressive with him and be like, oh wow, why didn't you call me today? And like, you know, wanting to always know where he was or control him or say, you didn't tell me you were doing this, you should tell me, and because I wanted to know what to expect, right? Or just feeling not good enough, so maybe I would push him away because I needed to feel safe, and I'm like, wait, we can't get too close because he's probably going to leave me eventually and I don't want to deal with that pain. These types of things. And so if I didn't embark on this deep healing journey, I wouldn't be at the place that I am today. And this is for all you women out there. Like, I want you to know that it is worth it. It is worth it 1,000 million, trillion, billion, whatever percent to infinity and beyond. Because let me tell you something. If you look at your life now and how it's been going, right? And the quality of your life, maybe you struggle to find like joy, peace in moments, trust in your partner, right? You're not truly living out like the goodness of your life. And if you think like in the sense of investing 1 to 2 years on a healing journey, right? That's pretty much just continuous awareness. That's what a healing journey is. Like, you learn your knowledge, and then you have this continuous awareness. Like, okay, I have these wounds. If I'm feeling negative about something, this is telling me something about myself. Why am I taking this to heart? Okay, I need to go investigate this. I need to go investigate, why don't I trust them? Or healing a trust wound. Or if I'm constantly feeling anxious or I can't be alone, like, learn something about codependency in a relationship and learning how to gain your own sense of self, right? And spending time alone. If you are struggling with, setting boundaries or asking for help, do a deep dive into learning to what that means and take little steps and be aware of that and take little steps every single day to like start implementing that. And by being aware of yourself and then having the knowledge on kind of how to fix it and know you're not perfect, right? It's just like when you're learning to ride a bike, right? You're not like 100% at first, but from repetitiveness, it becomes like a second nature. Now you get on the bike and you're just going down the road and you don't even have to think about it. When you first start, you're like, put my hands here. I need to like pedal here, keep my balance, do this, right? It's a conscious thing. But when you've done it enough, it becomes unconscious or subconscious, and it just becomes an automatic process. And so when you learn all the things on your healing journey, like the awareness, right? And you learn like communication skills, setting boundaries, like being able to resolve conflict. You learn how to just all these things, right? Like how to regulate your emotions, how to take space for yourself, how to say no when you don't have anything to give, right? These types of things. You are aware, you take steps to actively practice it with your consciousness, right? Like you're learning to ride that bike. And then eventually your brain turns that on to automatic. We know this. So now it just becomes automatic. A problem comes up, you just communicate, you know the way, you just do it automatically. And that's that. And then that's when you reach the end of that healing journey. You're like, oh my gosh, like now I'm doing all these things by second nature. I don't have to keep looking back at my communication book to read a script. I don't have to keep looking back to how to regulate my nervous system. I don't have to keep looking back to like eliminating these negative thoughts, whatever that is for you, right? Like, if I could just share with you an overview of like 6 main components of a healing journey so that this is really clear to you. So you're like, what is a healing journey? Like, to me, there's 6 main components, and this is going to be learning about your core wounds. All right. This is like when you have abandonment wounds that you hear about, trust issues, feeling not good enough, like these inner negative beliefs that really affect you at your core. These are core wounds. Second thing is your needs and expectations and relationships. So if you do not know your needs, you cannot communicate them. It's really important to understand like who you really are, what is really important to you in relationships, and be able to deeply know and understand that so that you can go communicate those things and you're not expecting people to mind read, right? So core wounds, needs and expectations in relationships. Third one is emotional patterns, emotional regulation, everything to do with your nervous system and emotion. So when you've gone through trauma or chaos, your nervous system is like all over the place. Like it's like always on fire. Like if you're someone who notices you're like in a rush, gotta do the dishes, do everything like in fast mode, or like you get into like a stressful event and your whole body's like and like it just drains you. Like this is a very common thing for you to recognize, because this doesn't happen to a lot of people. And when you're always in this fight or flight mode, like always anxious, always getting 10 out of 10 upset, like always feeling like you're in a rush, you're burning yourself out. That's why you're emotionally, mentally exhausted a lot of the time and have nothing to give, maybe to your family, your friends, or to the world at the end of the day. And that's really sad, okay? So when you get that under control, you're able to show up as your best self. And now you have a little bit more to give out. Like your cup's overflowing because you're taking care of you. You've learned how to regulate that. And now you can show up as a better person in the world, okay? So core wounds, needs and expectations in relationships, emotional patterns. Number 4 is going to be boundaries. Learn about your boundaries, girl. Like, learn boundaries. This literally changed my life. If you're somebody who grew up in trauma, like you probably became somebody who was really hyper independent. But another part of that becomes this beautiful, I like to say, like a beautiful part of you who just loves to give and literally show up for other people. Like you love to give to other people. You like to look after them. You want to do everything for everyone. And that is such like a beautiful characteristic and trait, until it causes you to start feeling resentful at times. Like, because even though you like to give and you like to show up for the other people and you want to make sure they're good, like you never ask for help. And when you're giving of yourself and nobody's ever pouring back into you, like naturally this creates resentment. And when you're feeling a little resentful, like you're giving, right? There comes this point where you get burnt out, and then maybe you might blow up on somebody, right? And then you feel bad about it. And then you're like, oh no, I shouldn't have done that. And then you give again. Resentful, you blow up. And the only way to stop this pattern, because your loved ones don't deserve that, right? And it's not really their fault. They thought, oh, she's giving because she's such a nice person, like, and she's so independent. They think because they see you show yourself that way, that she never needs anything because she never asked for anything, right? And that's kind of on you. So it's like important to understand a lot about boundaries. And that also includes like your needs, right? When you have your needs and you know your boundaries, you're able to like share with others, like, hey, I also need a little help here. Do you think you could do this for me? Or when they also ask you, being able to be like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't today. So a good boundary setter can always set boundaries from a place of like kindness, and just being soft about it. Like you don't have to be like angry, like, no, can't you see I'm just busy, I'm doing this and that, like how dare you ask me? It doesn't have to be that way. It can be like, sorry, hun, I can today. I'm really busy. I got a lot on my plate, but maybe I could do it tomorrow. Or do you think that you could just handle it this one time? Or I can do it if you can do this for me. You can compromise, like a lot of different things. So boundaries really just overall empower you, okay? So very important stuff. Number 5 is communication. That's going to be your biggest thing ever. Learning about healthy communication, like when you're communicating to your partner in the midst of conflict or disagreement, being able to communicate your needs in an effective way. Just being able to really share your deepest inner desires and truth. That's a big one, because if you don't know how to communicate like with other people in an effective way, right? There's like effective and ineffective communication. it's never going to land. So you could communicate your soul out all day, every day, and it's just never going to land. And the unfortunate part is that sometimes it can like break apart your relationships because you don't actually have that knowledge, right? We do the best with what we know, but if we can grow in these areas, we can implement it and we can build stronger connections and we can be empowered to get what we want, right? For instance, somebody could tell their partner, like, you never ever take me on dates, this relationship is so boring, right? Is that going to get you what you want? That person's going to be like, no, I'm not doing that, right? Versus like getting what you want because you're an effective communicator and you can keep the people that you love around without like harming them or like disrespecting them or being resentful towards them. You can say something like, hey hun, I've been feeling pretty, down lately or disconnected. I could really use a date night. Do you think we could go out to this restaurant Saturday night at 7? What do you think? There you go. Which one do you think is going to work? Okay, that's just my perfect example of like communication. And then the sixth component of like your healing journey is going to be your behavioral coping mechanism. So what you lean on when you're upset or when you're going through something, that's going to be a big part of it all. Sorry, I had something on my phone, but anyways, yeah. So those are 6 key components. The behavioral coping mechanism is when you are upset, right? Do you go drink? Do you go smoke? Do you get upset and cuss everyone out? Like, what are those behaviors that you turn to? These are things that can be upgraded, and you want to upgrade them because if you don't, you're pretty much just going to be living in this negative spiral time after time after time, and that's something that I don't want to see you doing. So I hope this video helps you guys out quite a bit. This was just a little bit of like raw, unfiltered stuff that I wanted to share with the world of women on their healing journey. And if you have any specific questions for me, feel free to like reach out, drop a comment, hit the subscribe button, and let's get this page going with like healing journey content, and let's just see what happens. So sending you all lots of love. God bless.